It's almost that time.
You giving me chills, cold shivers. What I'm feeling is real, and it's no nigga, not a. Brooklyn, up top of up top of you get Brooklyn. Let me tell you a little bit about my life. Shit wasn't all great.
It's almost about that time.
Like, some stories you try to keep close to your chest. But shit, it hurt too much not to talk about it.
We gotta talk about it.
Yeah. Gotta talk about it.
We most definitely gotta talk about it.
That's how real shit really is.
Pull up. Pull up.
They know. What you know about no food in the kitchen? Mama knowing that them kids hungry. Daddy shooting heroin. Grandma in the nursing home. Uncle trying to school him to the streets, but he was too advanced. Bitch, he caught a body now. It seeming like he blew a chance. Had a down chick, but she was too young to bail him out. Could've be a boy, she was a black girl. Lost trials and tribulations, carried the torch. But I ain't proud of that. Smoking trying to top my high, feeling like I'm about to die. Look in the sky, tell God save me. I could've went to church maybe if I learned how to read. But I learned about needs first. The hunger pains is the worst. Tired of wearing hole in my sneakers and rocking dirty shirt. Tired of being teased cause we was shopping with the food stamp. Government neighbors, the hood clientele, chopped and bag it up. Coke soda well, now my life's slow, my life's hell. I ain't yell, my mama, why you had to fail? Yeah. They say real shit. I don't think they want that.
Real life conversation.
Look. I gotta give it to you anyway.
Gotta give it to you anyway.
I killed for this love, for whatever it was. I'm really trying to feel you. I'm really trying to feel you. You always get stuck in your feelings, like what in the fuck am I feeling? I'm willing, been real with you over time. Man, the fake inside you is killing me. I can't breathe, I'm suffocating. Can't leave, but it's hard to choose. Barely ate, so I can barely move. Dehydrated, need a shot of you. Pull into me, boy, you been to me. You make me present out of memory and out of used to be. Cause I was used to you like you was used to me. Like you was used to me, but you confusing me. So why you using me? Why you using me? Stomping on my heart out. Really play my part. You like to play with hearts with the restricted parts. I don't know about you, so where to start? Where can I start? Cupid, you stupid. What all them?
Okay. Oh, it's only 10:02. Let's wait for some more people to get in the building. Just a little music for your listening pleasure.
My girl.
Bring your good vibes and bring your good energy. Today gonna be one of those. Make sure y'all in the building. Today gonna be one of those. Let's get good.
Come closer. Come closer. Come closer. Come closer. Dance with me, girl. Let's enjoy party. Loving your style is giving good vibes. See special, my girl. How you make like Monty. Angel, my girl. Heavenly body. So sweet, my girl. And you taste like honey. Call me Pooh Bear, cause I love some honey. Don't be surprised if I lick on your body. Step to me, girl. Don't do no running.
okay. The music is okay. The music is okay. We just trying to get the vibe right. Just trying to get the vibe in order. Hopefully everybody had a blessed day, a good day. If you didn't, hopefully you have a blessed and a good evening. Coming with your good vibes, with your good energy. Open mind so we can have some good conversation. Miss Denise is in the building checking in. Let's go. And y'all hit the like button on the way in the door. Share the video if you feel so inclined. If you don't, it's okay. We got a very interesting topic today. Hopefully everybody is coming in the building with the mindset to learn something, with the mindset to have an open mind. With the mindset to kind of think about our lives in a way that we probably didn't before. You see the title, and this is one of those titles that is more figurative than literal, but it can be literal as well. So again, bring your good vibes, bring your good energy, bring some love, bring some excitement. Become a part of the conversation. Don't be shy. You don't have to sit in the background, like people do, sitting in the back of the class, hoping that they not called on. We're not going to call you if you don't want to be called. You safe here. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I don't want y'all to wait too long, because I know you waited all day. So the title for today's video is "We Living on Borrowed Time with Bad Credit, No Savings, Debit Card Declined, and We Need Prayer." That sounds like a state of emergency to me. All of those things that are going wrong, all of those things that could potentially pose issues, definitely seem like a state of emergency. A lot of people don't realize, even if you feel you have everything in life in order, it's still a state of emergency, because there's always going to be something that you didn't think about. Like, for instance, you can have a great job, you can have a great income, you can have a great spouse, you can have a great relationship, you can have great kids, you can have great nieces and nephews, you can have a great family structure. But the one thing that you may not plan for is the event of somebody in your family losing their source of income, which can devastate a family. You don't plan for somebody, maybe one of the breadwinners in the family or in a relationship, getting sick or not being able to go to work and produce. A lot of people don't plan for what would happen in the event something happened to them. Yeah, you may have a life insurance policy. You may have some stocks and bonds. You may have some money put aside. But did you think about, any event something happens to you, who's going to raise your kids? In the event something happened to you, how is that going to affect your significant other? Are they going to be able to go on and move on and continue to be happy and do what it is that they need to do? You didn't make plans for, if somebody that you really care about passes away, the kind of void that's going to leave in people's lives. Because irregardless to what, we all mean something to somebody. Game Time is in the building. Shout out to Game Time. We got Miss Charlene in the building. Shout out to you, JC Craig. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Hit the like button when you come in the door. If you don't want to, that's perfectly okay. But those are some of the things that people don't prepare for. Those are some of the things that people don't have in order. Those are some of the things that people don't have situated. In this life, we all are living on borrowed time, because we don't know when the man upstairs is going to call us home, or we don't know when or if something is going to happen that's going to twist our whole life out of order. That's going to turn our whole life upside down. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And that's what's meant by we're living on borrowed time. You know, some people feel like they have all the time in the world. Some people feel like, you know, they can wait to make certain decisions. They could wait to make certain moves. They could wait to make certain things happen. And the more and more you keep pushing things back, it gets to a point where it's no longer an interest of yours. And then when you really needed to make certain moves, or you really needed to put certain things in order, that time, that window of opportunity may have passed, you know? So this topic is a little bit more about life planning, right? What plans do you have for your life? You have plans for your income. You have plans for when your paycheck come, you know, how the money is going to be spent. But what do you have planned beyond that? Do you have life insurance? You know, do you have mechanisms in place so that your loved ones are going to be straight, taken care of in the event that something happens to you? That's something that a lot of people overlook. Some people have bad credit. Miss Shirlene said, I'm going through this right now with my father, him not having his affairs in order. Yes, and you know, God's time is the perfect time. That's why certain conversations, they're always on time. I am the messenger. I am the messenger. Before I go into a shout out to Quinn, we got Quinn in the building. New face. Quinn has some interesting questions that we're going to answer. Quinn said, you got gray hair, yet you look young. How old are you? I'm worried about mine. I'm 47 years old. I'm still young. And gray hairs, I wouldn't worry about them. Gray hair, that means, you know, you earned those. You earned those. So, you know, I wouldn't worry about gray hair. I mean, if anything, you could put some shoe polish on it. You could use a magic marker. You know, it's ways to deal with gray hair. But what I would say is you earned them. If you live old enough to be able to get gray hairs, you earned them, wear them with pride, you know? Sometimes you just gotta let it go. You can't be young forever. You know, you can try, but you know, you can look like a brand new car on the outside, but you could be all beat up inside, you know? Some people look good and they full of medication. So let's talk about this a little bit, Shirlene, right? And thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with the chat, letting us know that it's something that you experienced in regards to your father. So a lot of people don't realize the importance of getting, having, and setting their affairs in order. No problem, Quinn. It's my pleasure to answer your questions. Thank you for joining the chat. Feel free to stick around for a while if you so choose. Because after a certain hour, it get lit over here. So certain affairs that we want to get in order, certain affairs that we want to have in order, is something that parents of yesterday used to teach their kids. Like, I remember when I was probably maybe 5 or 6 years old, you know, my parents, well, you know, my mother and certain other loved ones, they taught me my address. They taught me my phone number. They taught me, you know, certain things like what to say in the event something happens, you know, to somebody in the house. They taught me to stay away from strangers, you know, not take candy from strangers. They taught me what a birth certificate as well as a social security card is, what the importance of it is. They showed me where it was located. They told me what, you know, having identification is for. See, some people, they be moving around in this world and they don't even have identification on them. And the reason why that's an issue is because what if something happens to you while you out and about in the grocery store? What if something happens to you while you out and about running around and just handling whatever business? You don't got no identification on you, you know, for people to know who you are. Then they came out with something, you know, like in the late 80s, early 90s, and they have it today, where if you have certain medical conditions, you know, you wear a bracelet so people can know that you have a medical condition, and those are just basic, you know. I know so many people, even nowadays, they don't have a birth certificate or social security card. They don't realize the importance of having identification. Charlene says, my situation with my father, I feel that God is moving me out of my father's way so that my father could come to him on his own. He is very ill. He actually having surgery tomorrow on his heart. God bless your father, first and foremost. Hopefully the surgery goes well tomorrow. And what I would say for, you know, some of our parents, depending on where you was brought up, where you was raised, some of our parents didn't learn a lot of things that, you know, I was just speaking about. So they wasn't in a position to share it, right? And especially if you black, you know, there's a lot of things that we are not taught. Like, we are not taught the importance of having credit cards, the benefits of credit cards, how to utilize credit cards, how to save more money than you spend, how to put money up for a rainy day. You know, all of those things are important. So the thing is, Charlene, and what I want to say is, the things that you don't know, or the things that, you know, may not be in place, or your parents may not have put in place, take it as an opportunity to make sure that you have those things in place for you, for your children, and share the information with, you know, some of your younger relatives, who may not know, because information don't get passed down as much as it used to, you know, which is okay, which is understandable. And I just said that being politically correct, because it's not okay and it's not understandable. Shout out to X-Man. We got X-Man in the building, checking in one time for the one time. Anthony Val Maria is in the building. He said, I'm high and you look like a pencil eraser. Anthony, we appreciate you coming in the building and sharing the fact that you high. Because out of anything and everything that you could have said, you said the thing that made the most sense. You high. So we're not going to even hold you responsible for what come out your face. So, you know, Charlene, sometimes things happen in order to move us to action, right? Like, even let's go with the example of Mr. Anthony Val Maria, who came in the building and said he high, right? Some people take great pleasure in expressing to others that they high. Okay, your point is, you high. Mr. Val Maria, do you have good credit? Do you have credit cards? Do you have things in place in the event that something happens to you? Have anybody spoken to you about life insurance? If you pass today or tomorrow, do you have a plot set aside for you? Do you know where's going to be your final resting place? You know, so although we appreciate ignorance, although ignorance is definitely a part of what's going on in our society, this channel, what we seek to do is we seek to provide information. We seek to have conversations, discuss some things that we usually and don't generally discuss or even hear for the most part, right? And having and being in a state of preparedness is so important. It's so essential. Like, if you look at the fact that nowadays the cost of living is constantly increasing, but salaries are not increasing, right? You go to the grocery store, food is a little bit more expensive than it was. You go out to eat, food is a little bit more expensive. If you took out certain loans, you know, the interest rates are through the roof. But the one thing that's not increasing is your paycheck. So if you don't seek a second source of income, or if you don't have something in place where within the next couple of years you're going to be bringing in some more income, you may have a good job and you just may find yourself in a predicament where you just getting by, even if you have a great job. Anthony Valmaria said, I live in the Philippines. We don't have those type of stuff. Okay, so Mr. Valmaria, you live in the Philippines. Thank you. Appreciate you for checking in from the Philippines. I heard the Philippines is a beautiful place, and I know some places have more opportunity than others. But to the best of your ability, if you don't have the things that I was speaking about, if those mechanisms aren't in place, if those things aren't options for you, then what you can look into is what would allow you to live a good life in the Philippines or whatever country or whatever area that you're from, whatever state you're from, whatever, country you're from, and then you work accordingly. So the key to it is seeking to have stability as well as security. Okay? That's the message in a nutshell. In your life, seek to have stability as well as security. A lot of people got bad credit with no savings. That's literally as well as figuratively, depending on which way you want to look at it. Some people have bad credit because if you never had a credit card, if you never took out credit, if you don't have enough credit, that's still considered bad credit. Or you may be one of those individuals that you kind of just purchase stuff, just to have, just to say that you have it. And your credit cards are always maxed out. So when you have an emergency, you may not be able to address that emergency. And sometimes, having bad credit is better than having no credit at all, because at least it says somebody trusts you with some money. Somebody trusts you with a couple of dollars, But you would like, to the best of your ability, if you don't have credit or if you have bad credit, to kind of try to get your credit in order, as well as to increase your credit limits. Let me explain to you why. Okay. And this is going to be a small and a short example. So this is for people who may want to own something, may want to own a house or property or what have you. And if you don't want to own something, that's perfectly okay. But after this conversation, I think you may want to kind of revisit that idea, right? So let's say you have some credit cards, you took out some loans at once upon a time. You may have got behind on them. Your credit may have been maxed out. But you took the time to get it in order. So now once you got that credit in order, and let's say you have a credit limit of, let's use something realistic. Let's say you have a credit limit of $50,000, right? $50,000. And people say that's not a lot of money. What I'm going to do with $50,000? Well, if you have a $50,000 line of credit, if you would like to purchase a property in a decent neighborhood with a decent amount, $50,000 is actually enough for you to put a down payment on a property. Now, mind you, you have $50,000 in credit. So just because you have $50,000 in credit, you can utilize that to put a down payment on the home. Or if you need a vehicle, you can utilize that $50,000 to get a vehicle. Or if you're about to go on vacation, you could use that $50,000 to go on vacation. It's a lot of things that you can use $50,000 for. So the fact remains, it's better to have credit and not need it than to need it and not have it. Some of us, we're going to make some expensive purchases in our lifetime. Some of us, we may go through, some situations in life where financially we may be strapped, and we may need to have a certain amount of money in order to get things done, in order to stay afloat. Credit can come in handy in those instances. Okay? Not having savings is not a good thing. It don't matter if you save $20 a week, $50 a week, $100 a week. Even if you only could put $5 aside a week, it's good to get in the habit of saving some money. Get you some savings. Put some money to the side. They have penny stocks that you can buy where you have some, well, that's a whole nother conversation. We're not going to get into that. But just realize the importance of savings, because all of these things falls along the lines of security. Something that we all need, but we don't pay enough attention to. Debit card declined. We don't mean that one too literally, debit card declined. That just means like you're not good. That just means your name not good. That means your reputation not good. That means you're not trustworthy. That means you're not reliable. You know, that means you don't bring or add value. So if your debit card declined, that means there's probably some things in your life that you need to work on. That's one of those figurative things. Debit card decline, right? If you don't have a good character, if you're not reliable, you know, if people can't trust that you're going to show up, you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Those are not very good traits to have. You need to be reliable, because reliable is part and parcel to being responsible. So all of the things that I'm speaking about today, it all boils back down to security. It all boils back down to planning ahead. You know, it boils back down to having something set aside for the future, for the purpose of security. And we need prayer, you know? We need prayer. Montano is checking in. Shout out to Montano. Montano is in the building. Show Montano some love. Montano said consistency is the key. Consistency is definitely the key. But before you can be consistent, you need something to be consistent in, or have something to be consistent about. So you have to have a foundation, you know, you have to have a foundation of something or for something in order to be consistent. Like for instance, I started writing my first book in 2021. So it was that 3 years ago. Right now I'm on my third book. I haven't published any yet, because it's a certain process that I'm following. I wanted to educate myself in terms of publishing, starting my own publishing company. I wanted to learn a lot about the business. So in this way, when I put out the book, I'll know so much about the business where I'm actually going to be working for myself, and I'm going to receive maximum proceeds. And it's not all about money and receiving maximum proceeds, but I also know people who have published books, who have spent way more money than they earned in the publishing process, you know? So, but consistency is definitely the key. But we have to define, right? We have to define what it is we want out of life. Like, and I'll take out my pen and paper for this. This was an exercise that I learned some years back, and I feel that it can work for everybody. So what you're going to do, and I'll repeat it. What you're going to do, you're going to put a 20, a 10, and a 5 on a paper. You're going to put a 20, a 10, and a 5 on a paper. Those numbers represent years. Those numbers represent years. So you're going to have a 20-year, you're going to have a 20-year plan, a 10-year plan, and a 5-year plan? Why do you want a 20-year plan, a 10-year plan, and a 5-year plan? I'm not asking it as a question. I'm making it more as a statement because I'm going to explain it to you. But this is something that a lot of people would ask themselves. And if you find yourself asking that question, or if you ever ask that question, why do I need to look so far ahead? Then that means you don't have no intentions on being prepared. Right? So, 20-year plan. When you put down a 20-year plan, the 20-year plan is just really you sitting down with yourself and you saying to yourself, where would you like to be in 20 years? So let's use an example. In 20 years, I would like to be financially free, right? For those of y'all that know what financially free means I want to be in the next 20 years, I would like to be at a point where I no longer have to work for money. That the work that I did, it paid off in a way where I never have to work for money again. That's what financially free means to you. That's one of my goals. Mr. Montano said people got to work on themselves before they got where they got to. Exactly. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. People having to work on themselves. So one of a very critical thing that you can do is set long-term goals for yourself, meaning a 20-year plan. So I'm giving you an example so you can see how this works in real time. In 20 years, I want to be financially free. That's one of the things that I want to be, right? I want to have my kids' college education paid for, as well as money set aside for my kids to start living their life, right? I want to be married and have a great relationship, partnership, friendship with my significant other. Because for those of y'all that feel y'all want to be lonely when y'all 70 or 80 years old, knock yourself out like you boxing yourself. That is not my idea of a flex. Okay? So those are 3 things that I would like. And I also would like to be in good health. What I mean by good health is I don't want to have to be having to rely on a whole bunch of medication. I don't want to have to be, riding around in a wheelchair, riding around and getting it. I don't want to have to be walking on a cane. I don't want to have no major health ailments, right? So that's what I mean by in good health. So that's my 20-year plan, right? So now if that's all of the things that I want to be able to accomplish in 20 years, then the 10-year plan is how much of this I can have figured out in 10 years. How many of these things I can have in order within the next 10 years so that I can enjoy it 20 years down the line. Right? And then under that, you have the 5-year mark. The 5-year mark is what can I do in the next 5 years? What can I do in the next 5 years that would position me? That would position me to be able to have those things accomplished in 10 years so that I can enjoy them 20 years from now. Jeremiah Wilson said, "Seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all of this will be given unto you." Amen. Amen. You are 100% correct. Jeremiah Wilson, you are 100% correct. And if you're new to the channel, just to introduce myself, my name is Tyrone Hunter. This is What's Really Good Entertainment. I am the messenger. I am also a believer of Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is my personal Lord and Savior. This channel is dedicated and designed for those who seek knowledge, who seek information, who are believers, even those that are non-believers. So you came to the right place, Jeremiah Wilson. We appreciate that comment. Thank you so much. Hezekiah Schwick. Hey, Tyrone. Hey to you as well. Shout it out. Thank you for being in the building. Everybody show each other some love in the building. So a lot of people don't realize the importance of having a 20-year plan. Montano said plans are not working always. Like plans always got to adapt. Yes, you are correct. But let me tell you the purpose of having a plan, right? Let me tell you the purpose of having a plan. Because regardless of how much we may plan, God is the best of planners, first and foremost, right? I feel that our lives was written. So that means what's going to happen in our lives, it was already written before we was born. That's where I'm at with it, right? In addition to that, a plan is simply a roadmap, right? Like say for instance, if you going to the grocery store or you going to the other side of town, or you have somewhere that you're going to visit, you need to know what road you're going to travel. So having a 20-year plan, this is about to shock y'all. And this is the importance of having, conversations that initially it may or may not make sense to you, or you may not be interested in. I'm going to show you right now how it's going to be interesting. All right. So just follow me. So now, when you make a 20-year plan and you speak about the things that you want to accomplish in 20 years, right? Quite naturally, you have to put yourself in a position. You have to put yourself in a position in order to accomplish this. Like for instance, if you want to have $1 million in 20 years, that means you can't be working in Kentucky Fried Chicken. That means you can't be working as an attendant in the car wash. That means you can't be working, serving burgers in a fast food establishment, because the income that you're going to receive is not going to put you in line with making $1 million. So quite naturally, if you want to have $1 million in 20 years, what you have to do is you have to explore either professions, side hustles, forms of education, and things of that nature that will put you in a position where you're going to be accumulating money that over time can add up to $1 million. Am I right or am I right? That's a trick question. That's one of those questions where I just make myself right, irregardless. Shout out to Tom. Tom is in the building. UK stand up. Wagwan, bruv. Everybody show Tom some love in the building. Everybody show each other some love in the building. Get familiar. This is a family affair, and this is how we're going to be carrying this thing all year. So look, that's the reason why you would like to set long-term goals. Because when you set long-term goals, now your mind automatically has to function in a way that everything you do, every step that you take is going to be putting you in line with accomplishing this goal, right? Let me give you another example. Okay, so let's say in 20 years, you want to be a brain surgeon, right? In 20 years, you want to be a brain surgeon. Now, if you want to be a brain surgeon, should you be hanging on a block with Ray and them? Should you be spending all day, every day doing drugs? Should you be spending your life committing crimes? Should you be hanging around people that's up to no Good. Should you be going to school to become a dentist? No, because all of those things that I just spoke about, those things do not put you in line with what it is that you're trying to accomplish in 20 years. See, the reason why some people's lives go in directions that they didn't anticipate, that they didn't choose, that they didn't expect, is because they had no plans for their lives. You know how many people, how many females especially, get pregnant and they say, I didn't plan on having 4 kids. I didn't plan on having 5 kids, right? I didn't plan on having 3 kids. I didn't plan on having 2 kids. I didn't plan on having kids before I got married. Well, the reason why those things happen is because you didn't have a plan to avoid that from happening. And if you had a plan to avoid that from happening, you didn't stick to the plan. And that's why that happened. That's why that was allowed to happen. Then you got people that they make plans. They say, oh, I want to accomplish this. When I get old, I want to go to school. I want to get a degree in this. But you're not preparing yourself for that trade. You're not preparing yourself for that life. You're not absorbing the kind of information that's necessary for you to learn, for you to reach that point. Aside from going to college and getting a degree, some people say that they're going to do stuff and it's not concrete because they don't write it down. They say, oh, well, I want to be married by this age. I want to do this. I want to accomplish this. If that's what you want to do, you have to work on that every day. And I'm going to just be honest with you. You cannot say that you want something out of life, but you're not working on it or working towards it every day. Because that means you're not telling the truth. That means you're lying to yourself. That means you live in an illusion. That means you're telling yourself what sounds good. And that's not okay. Anything that you want out of life, I'm going to probably say this about 2 or 3 times. Anything that you want out of life, you have to be working on that or working towards that every day until you get it. It doesn't matter if it take you a month, if it take you 2 months, if it take you 3 months, if it take you 6 months, if it take you a year, if it take you 2 years, if it take you 5 years. It's not about how long does it take. It's so long as it takes. So many people say, I want a new car. Okay. What are you doing to get a new car? Do you have a kind of car in mind that you want to get? Do you know the amount of money that that car is going to cost? Are you saving money towards getting that car? Or are you one of those people that say, when I get my income taxes, I'm going to go and buy me a car? People love saying what they're going to do with their income taxes. Shout out to all my income tax babies. Shout out to all my folk who every year they plan on what they're going to do with their income tax. And then by the time their income tax come, they don't do none of those plans. They don't do none of those things they thought about. Shout out to my income tax people. Mr. Nee said, you are very inspiring, Todd. Thank you. Appreciate you. I thank you, and I appreciate you as well. And this is important, right? It's important for us to have conversations that are necessary because so many people think that life is more difficult than it really is. You know? Great achievements. great achievements or great accomplishments. Great achievements or great accomplishments is not something that one day you wake up and all of those great and amazing things happen. It's all the little things that you do over time that put you in a position to be able to achieve greatness. Think about basketball players like Michael Jordan, right? Think about basketball players like LeBron James. Think about basketball players like the late, great Kobe Bryant. Think about basketball players like Shaquille O'Neal. All of the great basketball players that you may know. Your Steph Currys. We're not going to name them all. And if we left anybody out, this is our conversation. We can do what we feel like. When we feel like it. 2 Chainz. When I feel like it. So, those people, and especially even people that play football, even sports like gymnastics, soccer, right? So these athletes, what they do is they train all day, every day, just to play one game. See, when a season starts, you don't go out there the first day of the season and you get a championship trophy. No, you have a series of games that you're going to play throughout the year, right? And then if you get a certain amount of wins, now you're going to position yourself to play against people who are just as hungry as you are. So now it's no longer going to be about your skills, whether you're good, whether you're great, whether you can make all of these baskets. Because when you're in competition with people that are just as great as you, what it's going to boil down to is who is the hungriest, who wanted more, who's going to push themselves a little bit more. So when you see a team win a championship, when you see an athlete win the biggest fight of their life, when you see somebody get an MVP trophy, when you see somebody get next and close to perfect scores, that's because they practice on a regular basis. Like Montano said, they practice consistently. They show up. Not only sometimes, all the time, because they want it bad enough. So when you go through a year of winning all of these different games, and it gets to the point to the championship and you win the trophy, what you're celebrating is not only that big victory, but all of the little victories that it took to get you to a position for you to show how great you are. Am I right or am I right? Montano said good things take time. Yes, sir, good things do take time. So do yourself a favor. Don't make momentary decisions that have lasting consequences. Don't do things today that can potentially mess up your future. Don't live your life today in a way that's not going to put you in a position to live the life that you would like to live in the future. It's so many people that think and feel they got time, think and feel that they could waste their life, think and feel that they could do drugs all day, think and feel that they don't have to show up, think and feel that they can hang out with the wrong people. Think and feel that they can abuse their bodies. Think and feel that they don't have to take care of their bodies. Because they feel like, I still got time to get it all together. that may not always be the case. And I was just looking at an article today, right? Where it was an Instagram story. It was kind of touching, right? It kind of touched my heart. So it was a 22-year-old female, and she has stage 2 cancer at 22 years old. And what she was saying in this video was people need to stop vaping and people need to stop spending their day all day drinking so that they won't be in the position that she's in. And it kind of broke my heart because I'm like, 22 years old, she didn't even get an opportunity to start living. And she's dealing with stage 2 cancer, which is like, that's kind of up there, right? But because she was engaging in it, because she was indulging certain behaviors that everybody else say or think is fun and is cool, she didn't get a chance and an opportunity like so many other people got. That caught up with her real quick. Because people fail to realize we are living on borrowed time. What we're living on borrowed time means is stop taking life for granted. Stop putting off till tomorrow what you can do today. Stop doing all of these things to mess up your life right now, thinking that you're going to have time to fix it tomorrow. Stop using that logic. Stop thinking that you don't have to put your time and effort into becoming a lawyer, into becoming a doctor, into becoming an entrepreneur. You don't have to put your time into doing that right now because you're going to start focusing on that next year. Next year may not never come. Next year, some life-altering things may have happened that you no longer have the same interest and you no longer have the same desire. And this is why they say, always strike when the oven is hot. Do anybody in the chat know what that means? Or can anybody in the chat give me their understanding of strike when the iron is hot? What does that mean to them? I'm going to drink tea in the meantime and in between time. Come on, let's go. Wake up. Everybody ain't sleep. It's too early now. What do you think it means to strike when the oven is hot? What do y'all think that means? Or what does it mean to you? If you never heard the saying, you can say you never heard the saying. You can say you're not sure. All of that is perfectly okay. What does it mean to strike when the iron is hot? Miss Denise said, take action now. Okay, we got Miss Denise in the building. She said, take action now. That's what she think, and that's what she feels strike when the oven is hot means. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else in the building want to tell me what they think that mean? What they feel that mean? Strike when the iron is hot. Miss Denise, you are 100% correct. That's exactly what it means. Take action now. Take action now. Because right now you're motivated. Right now it's in your mind, it's in your heart, it's in your thoughts. Okay? And that don't necessarily mean that what we feel like doing today, we're going to have that same feeling 6 months from now. We're going to have that same feeling a year from now. You know, so this is why we want to strike when the iron is hot. A lot of times you feel strongly about something, you feel strongly about doing something. You really want to accomplish something. And what happens is some people, they keep putting it off, 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 until it gets to a point in time where they no longer have that same desire. They no longer want to do that, or some time pass and they have other things that they want to do. So when you're feeling motivated to do something, it's like, just go ahead and do it. It's going to take discipline for you to continue, doing whatever that is, but you have to do it now. Montano said, make the best out of the situation that you're in. Exactly. You always have to make the best of the situation you in. I mean, we all, would love to be in a better position. We all would love to have, more going on. We all would love to have, other things in place. But the fact remains is that a lot of times, more often than not, you have to try to make something out of what it is that you have. You have to take the cards that you dealt and make the kind of hand that you want. Make the kind of hand that makes sense for you. A lot of people are quick to say, well, I wasn't born with this, I wasn't born with that, I didn't come from this kind of family, I didn't come from that kind of family, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. Okay, all of that means is that you were dealt some cards or a kind of hand that was a little difficult. Right? That's what that means. But the question is, what are you going to do with the hand you dealt? Are you going to play the cards and make for a better hand? Or are you going to complain about the hand that you wish you had? What are you going to do? I'm going to drink some tea. But what are you going to do? For people who have a certain hand and they feel like, man, I wish I had a better hand, da 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 da. Montano said, I'm going to get my own cards. Exactly. That is an option too. If you don't like the cards that you were dealt, you could go find you some other cards. But Montano, let me tell you something. The set of cards that you have in your hand, or the life that you have, the life that you was given, you can do something with it. It may take some effort, it may take some energy, it may take some time. It may take some sacrifice. It may take some discipline. It may take some hungry nights. It may take some lonely nights. It may take some nights of confusion where you don't know what direction to go. It may take some times where you feel like your back is against the wall and you don't know how to get your back against the wall. All of that is a test. All of that is a test. Because if you can play with those bad cards that you were dealt and make something of it, no matter what kind of hand life deals you in the future, you always going to be able to make something of it. So that's why you should thug it out. Be thankful that you got bad cards. Be thankful that you got a bad hand. Because the only thing it does is it's going to force you to show up. And if you're not willing to show up, if you're not looking to show up, then continue to make excuses. Continue to say, woe is me, boo, boo, hoo, hoo, oh, my card is not good. So what? You got cards. That's the card that you got to play with. You ever play the card game? You ever sit down and play the card game and you looking at the cards and you like, man, what is this? It's the cards that you got to play with. Denise said personal goals don't include excuses. Exactly. Excuses are like, you know the saying, everybody got one. Is excuses going to get your goals accomplished? No. So why are you using them? If excuses is going to get you the results that you want and need in life? No. So why are you using them? Excuses are for people who do not want to show up for themselves. Excuses give you a reason to not push yourself. Take excuses out of your vocabulary. Take excuses out of your life. Exclude that word from your mind. That word should not exist. Excuses should not exist. Don't say why you couldn't do something. Because if you can't do it now, put yourself in a position that you'll be able to do it tomorrow or the next week or the next month or the next year. Tom says solutions. Exactly. Why is it that people always get stuck on the problem or the issue, but don't spend a lot of time on solutions? Why is that? People will sit here and tell you all day about everything that's wrong, everything that's not right. But why they don't put that energy into solutions? Because solutions is the only thing that's going to change anything. So let me give you a healthy, helpful exercise. Let me give you a healthy, helpful exercise, right? Any situation that you find yourself in life, any predicament that you find yourself in life, don't talk about and don't think about the predicament itself. Allow your mind to focus your energy on what you can do or what you need to do to change the predicament. Do yourself that favor. Use it as an exercise. Do not think, if you find yourself in a predicament, if you find yourself in a situation, if you find yourself in a position that you don't want to be in, or even in life, if life is not that good for you, don't think about how or why life is not good for you. Don't focus on your life being bad. Don't focus on all of the negative things that's going on. Focus your energy on what it is that you can do, what it is in your power to do to make your life better. And one of the things you better do is pray. I tell you that much. You better add some prayer, just like people add seasoning to their food. You better add some prayer into your life if you know what's right for you. Montana says, show up for yourself and the rest will come. Yes. Show up for yourself and the rest will come. Just don't worry about how long it's going to take. Continue to do what you need to do. Continue to show up for yourself until you get the results that you want. Ask how you can do it better. Exactly. Ask yourself how you can do better. Miss Denise said, I think it's called self-pity because I've been there. Yes. Yes. See, self-pity and making excuses is like a crutch. What does a crutch do? What does a crutch do? A crutch holds us up, right? A crutch holds us up. Or a crutch assists us in standing up or holding ourselves up. But self-pity And using excuses will destroy you more than anything else in life ever will. Self-pity and excuses. It'll destroy your life more than anything else will. Because it will convince you that you don't have to show up for yourself. It will convince you that you don't have to put the effort and put the energy into yourself. Montano said, if you know yourself good, then you always will create the path you want to go. If you know yourself, you have the potential to create the path. But how many people do it is the question. How many people do it? See, I know this is not a very popular topic. I understand that. I get it. But it's necessary. A lot of people don't realize that they hold themselves back more than anything or anybody else does. Look at life like this, right? Let's use an example. Okay, so let's use an example. The railroads, right? So you see how they have train tracks, which is like most everywhere around the entire world right now. There's train tracks. What a lot of people don't know is they started laying those train tracks a couple of 100 years ago. The train tracks that we see today, those train tracks started being laid hundreds of years ago. The transportation that we use, the vehicles, everywhere have vehicles. The vehicles that we use today, those vehicles were created hundreds of years ago. You know? So what if 100 years ago, people didn't put their time and effort into creating vehicles and into creating railroads? How will we be traveling right now? We'll still be traveling on horses. If you want to be honest, you know, goods and merchandise wouldn't be able to be shipped from one part of the world to the other if it wasn't for transportation. Things such as planes. Do you know how long it would take you to go from one country to another country if it wasn't planes? So, and I was going to talk about this tomorrow or another day, but for some strange reason, something is telling me to talk about it now. Stop taking life for granted. Somebody in the chat needs to hear that. I don't know who. I don't know who. It can apply to all of us though. But stop taking life for granted. Stop taking life for granted. Stop taking life for granted. Whoever is doing so, stop taking life for granted. Stop taking your life for granted. Life is beautiful, right? And life is the only thing, well, one of the only things that we're only going to get one of and we can never replace. We are not going to get another life. Let me say that again. You are not going to get another life. This is not a video game. This is not a video game. Stop living your life like it's a video game. Stop taking your life for granted. Stop putting your life on the line. Stop putting your life on the line. Stop not taking your life serious. Stop not taking your health serious. Stop taking your life for granted. Stop taking people or the people that you have in your life for granted. Stop thinking that you can replace certain people because y'all may not always agree with each other. Stop taking your job for granted. Stop going to work late. Stop going to work unprepared. Stop going to work not seeking to be productive. Stop going to work thinking that work is all about you. Stop going to work acting like that job needs you, like you can't be replaced. Stop overplaying your hand. Stop thinking that you God's gift to the world. Stop thinking that life ain't gonna go on without you, because it will. Stop thinking that people can't live without you, because they'll show you better than they could tell you. Stop wanting life to be convenient for you. Stop doing what you feel like doing when you feel like doing it. Seek to be an example in everything that you do, right? Seek to be an example. Daryl Mason, I need a girl. That's why I can't stop overplaying my hand. I need a girl. That's why I can't stop overplaying my hand. Shout out to Daryl Mason. We appreciate you being in the building. Whoa. Montana. We got Montana in the building. Is that Montana, the football player that used to throw them crazy ill football passes? Because this Montana right here, he just threw a bomb. Now listen, for those of y'all that's not paying attention to the chat, Daryl Mason said, I need a girl. That's why I can't stop overplaying my hand. Now we got Montana With the comeback, said, girl, maybe you need to get you a woman. Whoa. Whoa. That comment right there was real quick. That comment right there was on point. And that comment right there is a fact. Royal Flush, there we go. Royal Flush. That's a poker hand right there. That one is unbeatable. I gotta give it to you. I gotta give it to you. I'm gonna give it up to you if nobody else do. I want to see what the comeback is. Mr. Daryl Mason, what do you have to say about this? We need some comeback because you was quick to put that comment out there. So we need to know what your comeback is gonna be. Or Mr. Montana is gonna get the trophy for shutting it down real quick. And that's true for a lot of men out there, right? If you want a partner in life, if you want a significant other in life, stop dealing with girls and look for a woman. Do yourself that favor. Because when you only have a girl, it's not a whole lot of stability there. When you only have a girl, that means she still want to party. That means she's not looking for a commitment. That means y'all really not locked in. Y'all just going through the motions, making it do what it do. When you got a woman, it's a difference. Damn a woman, I need a damn job too. Okay. So there we go. See, now we working with something, Mr. Mason. So now we understand why you don't have a girl and why you don't have a woman. Because you ain't got a job. So, there we go. I'm telling you, I think this is the Montana, the quarterback. I think this is Montana, the quarterback, because he throwing them bombs tonight. He just bombed again. He said maybe focus on you first. Mr. Mason, we thank you and we appreciate you for being in the building. And we going to give you some free game over here. And it's all done, you know, it's all done with the best of intentions, right? If you don't have a girl or a woman, but you say you need a job, then that means prioritize, right? What does prioritize mean? Prioritize means focus on something first and let the others follow. So if you need a job, focus on securing a job first. So in this way, when you have a girl or you have a woman in your life, you can take them out to get something to eat. You're bringing something to the table. Aside from just your smile and your personality. Sometimes, you know, we have some women that date our potential, right? So, do you have any potential? What is it that you into? What is it that you do? There we go, Montana, let them know. Montana said come up for yourself first. If you can't get some things in order first, then you being in a relationship, that relationship is going to be doomed to failure. So you want to and you need to be able to bring a little something more to the table. So Mr. Mason, Daryl Mason, where are you from? Can you give us an idea of where you from? And this is not a place where we bash anybody. This is a place where we pick each other up. We give each other helpful and encouraging information. We tell you about the wonders and the beauty of God, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We seek to help over here. So, if you want some help and you want some assistance and you looking to get on your toes, You looking to get your life in order? We need you in the comment section to let us know some of what's going on. Where are you from? Where are you checking in from? Shout out your country. Shout out your city. Shout out your state. Okay, Daryl Mason is from Compton, California. Shout out to Compton. Shout out to California. Cali is in the building. Now, Mr. Mason, I don't know a lot about California, but what I do know about California is that there's a lot of gangs in California. You know, geographically, it's certain places and areas that you can't go or you can't be in because you may run into a rival. So, with that being said, if you live in a kind of area like that, if you live in a kind of environment like that, if you live in a kind of state like that, what you're doing is you're going to limit your options. You're going to limit the job opportunities that you have because it may be a good job across town, but you may not be good in that hood. You may not be safe in that area. So you're going to be forced to have yourself in a position where you're going to have to hustle or do something illegal to get a job, or you're going to be risking your life in order to get you a decent job. So what I would say, Mr. Mason, is there's some choices that you want to make. Shout out to Sweet Like Honey. She checking in from California. Y'all know what it is. Give her some love. Show Miss Sweet Like Honey some love. She's in a building. And Miss Sweet Like Honey, we got Daryl Mason in the building, who's from Compton, California. We got two Cali natives in the building. Right. So, Mr. Mason, as I was saying, California, especially Compton, California, is a unique area, right? Is a unique circumstance, right? And it's either you're going to find you a legitimate hustle that's going to get you some money so that you can be able to travel to a job, or it may not be something that you want to do, but it depends on what you want for your life. You may have to change your zip code because a lot of us don't understand that where we live, it limits us in terms of our options. And sometimes we want to stay where we are. We want to stay where we from because it's comfortable, because it's familiar, because we know people, because we have loved ones. But if you want to get your life in order, it's certain steps that you have to take. Okay, Mr. Mason, if you want to get your life in order, certain steps you're going to have to take. And nothing else is going to go forward unless or until you are willing to take those steps. Some of the steps you may have to take is change your zip code, change your state, so in that way you could get your life on track. If you choose to, Montana Stuyback, what's your zip code? I will come here and mix up some sauce. No, Montana is from another country. Montana is from another country. Montana is from another country. But yeah, with all being real, and I'm speaking from the heart. I'm speaking from the heart, Mr. I'm speaking on the heart, Mr. Mason. Montana said, focus on you. What's working for me is not working for you. Yeah. Well, we're not gonna get into that. We don't even do the back and forth. This is all about upliftment and encouragement, right? So thank you. We appreciate you, Mr. Montana, from offering your feedback. And Mr. Mason, we appreciate you, for the way that you handling the conversation. So, and there's a little truth to what it is Montana may be saying is what he has, where he's at, whatever's working for him, that's working for him. And Mr. Mason, where you at, what's going to work for you is probably going to be something different, but that's just the reality of it. Sorry to say, Compton, California is it's a beautiful place. Everywhere on this earth is beautiful. But it just, everywhere that we live, there's different dynamics, and some of those dynamics can act as hindrances to us. So sometimes we got to decide really and truly, what is it we want for our lives? Do we want better for our lives, or are we going to accept the life that we live in? So that's kind of what it boiled down to. It's no shade, it's no disrespect. Shout out to Cali, shout out to Compton, shout out to you for being in the building, some environments, and I'm gonna use myself as an example, right? I grew up for the most part in Brooklyn, in the projects, and I was running the streets, I was committing crimes, I did a lot of things that I wasn't proud of when I was young. I blamed it on the fact that I grew up in poverty, that I didn't have many choices, and that I was influenced by the wrong people. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I made the choices that I made, right? And because of those choices that I made, it caused me to go to prison, to do 15 years in prison, right? When I came home from prison, and this is probably the first time that I'm sharing this with PJs in Brooklyn. I've been out there from Fort Greene projects, Fort Greene. And so when I came home from doing the 15 years in prison, I had decisions to make. And the decisions that I had to make is, was I going to go back to the projects, hang out in the projects, chill in the projects, and live in the projects that been sending me back and forth to jail my whole life? Or was I going to move somewhere else where nobody knew me, get a clean slate, I can get a job, even if it's working in a fast food restaurant, and I ain't got to worry about nobody laughing at me because nobody knew me. So I decided to move from Brooklyn to Queens. And it was one of the best decisions that I made in my life. Because from Queens, I ain't never looked back. Never went back to prison, Stop hanging out in the streets, stop running the streets. Life done been up, life done been down, life done been great, life done been a lot of things. But ultimately, I'm very proud of my choice. And one of the things that we got to realize and we got to understand, and I hear people sometimes say, this conversation may not be for everybody, but I don't know. I guess it's just something that I want to share. Like, I hear people say all the time, yo, this is my hood. This is my neighborhood. This is where I'm from. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from going and being in my neighborhood. You right. Right? And the thing that I had to understand is that when I was younger and I was running around living life, I created some enemies. I had some friends that were undercover enemies. I learned that all in time, right? A lot of things happened over the course of the time that I was in prison for 15 years. So that means I left from a war zone, and all of the wars and all of the drama, all of the things that took place, now after me doing all of this time, I'm going to go back to the same war zone after I done lost all of these years of my life. Some people feel that that's smart. Some people feel that makes all the sense in the world. For me, I had lost so much of my life already that I wanted to and I needed to give myself an opportunity to experience something different, because had I not made that choice, I could have wound up dead, or I could have wound up back in prison serving some more time. You know? So at the end of the day, I think people be so attached to the neighborhood, to their hood, or to where they was raised up at, that they think somewhere in their mind that they a sucker or they gonna be soft if they decide to move and go somewhere else. You know? And that's not the case. Daryl Mason said, I used to be in Fort Greene back in the days. I got shot at by this short dude from there named Kelvin on Myrtle Ave back in the days. I remember Killer Ben and Preem. I know Killer Ben and Preem. I know Killer Ben and Preem. And by Preem, you talking about Supreme Magnetic. That's who you're talking about. And if you got shot at, yeah, Myrtle Avenue, we called it Murder Avenue, you know, because there was a lot going on. So, and that's where a lot of legendary individuals came from. That's where a lot of gunslingers came from. You know, I grew up in that era. You know, I came up in the 80s looking up to those individuals. You know? Montano said, you watch too much 50 Cent. No, Montano, listen. The real 50 Cent, the original 50 Cent, is from Fort Greene Projects. He's from Fort Greene Projects. So the rap artist 50 Cent got his name from the original gangster and gunslinger 50 Cent from my neighborhood. So, you know, yeah, so that's how that is. So again, sometimes, you know, and as much as we love our neighborhoods and we love where we from, you know, sometimes what we have to do is sometimes we just got to keep it moving, you know? Sometimes we got to go. Sometimes we got to give ourselves a chance to live or a chance to experience other things. And I hear so many people say, oh man, you know, if you don't go back to your hood, you ain't nobody. If you ain't good in your hood, you ain't nobody. Listen, it don't matter what neighborhood or what area you come from. The name of this game is on any given day. On any given day, it could be your day. And most people, we talk about those people that come from the urban areas, you know, hard areas, rough areas and stuff like that. Even when people get famous, they come back to their neighborhood and they lose their lives in their own hood, in their own neighborhood. You know, so we gotta be mindful. You know, we gotta be mindful of that. You know, we have to understand that. And where I was living in Queens is the exact area where, you know, 50 Cent was kind of doing his thing at, you know. That's where I wound up living at in Queens. So, hey, he not lying. That dude Kelvin used to be posted up in 8 Monument Walk robbing dudes. I got chased down Myrtle all the way to Washington Ave. Yeah. And you talking about back in the 80s. You talking about back in the 80s. You over there in 8 Monument Walk, you got 8 Monument Walk, 9 Monument Walk, 24 and 25 Monument Walk, 36 and 46, 36 and 46 St. Edwards. All of that's on that same side of the projects. That's the middle side. But you do know that after 50 Cent came home from doing all of that time in prison, that he lost his life the same year. because he came home after all of that time in prison, came back to Fort Greene, the projects, the neighborhood, doing the same thing that he was doing before he got locked up. And he lost his life the same year that he came home. He's a legend. But he's no longer here. So me, I think I kind of learned from the mistake of others. And I'm happy to be here, by the way. Happy to be here. Thank you very much. Fifty Cent the rapper, very intelligent individual. And again, think about it, Montano. Think about this, right? This is for you specifically. Think about this, Montano. 50 Cent was never part of a gang, but 50 Cent was never part of a gang, but he was a gangster. He was living, he was living a gangster life when he was in the streets. When he got rid of his gangster mentality, that's what allowed him to be successful. He didn't accomplish all of the things that he accomplished in life up until this point. He didn't accomplish none of that being a gangster. He accomplished that being smart, using his mind, and he educated himself about the music industry. He surrounded himself with the right people. And look at him now. He's almost a billionaire. So this is what people need to understand about that life and that lifestyle. This is for all of the people who out there who on gang, who on gangbanger time, who's living that street life, who think that life is all that it's cracked up to be. If you look at the people that came from the streets that were successful in life, those are the ones that changed their life. You can't be a successful gangbanger. You can't be a successful thug. It don't work. It don't go together. Being a gangster and being a thug, that only work for you in the streets. Living the street life. But most of them, they don't even know how to function in real life. That's why they stay in the streets. They don't know how to function in real life, They don't know how to let, that life go, let that mentality go. It's necessary to let that life go. Look, think about it like this. In the United States, it's 52 states. Now, every state, it got all of these different towns. It got all of these different countries. It got all of these different areas. Then when you look at the world, you got over 50 countries. And every country got at least 50 towns and provinces in them. It's a whole world out here. Why would you want to spend, or why would you want to waste, or why would you want to lose your life or destroy your life or destroy the life of others and your family by being in a gang or being a part of a gang or calling yourself a thug? How is it worth it to stay in the same state, in the same area your entire life? And you call that being real. You think that's being real. How is that being real? Denying yourself the opportunity to make something of yourself. How is that being real? I remember seeing Kelvin ride up and down Fulton Street in Troop in a gold Jetta with his window blown out and bullet holes in the car. Yep, that's an actual fact. But the gold Jetta I don't believe that was his. I believe that was Cess. It was a dude named Cess who had a gold Jetta, you know? But so many people, and you know, this just the way the conversation going. This just the direction that the conversation went in. So many people, you know, that grow up rough lives, living rough lives. They think that they supposed to stay in those environments because it's all they know. Why don't you go somewhere else and know something else? Why don't you go somewhere else and experience something else? If not for you, for the sake of your family and your loved ones, you know, that's going to come up after you. Daryl Mason said, I'm happy you survived that era, brother. Listen, I'm happy I survived that era too. I'm happy I survived that era. Like, I was born in 1977. So in 1985, when I was 8 years old, I already done smoked my first cigarette. I already done drunk my first beer. I already running around 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, you know. By the time I'm 9 years old, I'm holding drugs, you know, for the older individuals who out there selling drugs so they don't get locked up, you know, making my little money. I used to go to the store for drug dealers. A lot of people don't know, and a lot of people don't realize. And thank you for that acknowledgement, Daryl Mason. A lot of people don't realize, yo, the streets in the 80s, when we talking about people, listen, I experienced myself personally situations where people would shoot people broad daylight in front of everybody and go across the street to the store and get something to drink and something to eat and walk down the block like nothing. Because back in those days, a lot of people wasn't telling. A lot of people wasn't snitching. Back in those days, it wasn't a lot of cameras. Back in those days, it wasn't police with all of this high-tech equipment that they have now. We're talking about the 80s, the height of the crack epidemic. Where the murder game was so crazy. And my projects, we're talking about Fort Greene. Every project or every area in New York is known for something different. So my projects and my area specifically only bred mostly two kind of people. You was either a shooter or you was a stick-up kid. That's what my projects bred. So most of the people that come out of my projects, they sling that iron. So if you survived during the 80s and the 90s, it don't matter if you working in Kentucky Fried Chicken right now or you working in for UPS. You made it. Trust and believe. Because back then it was so poor that even if you went to school with a fresh pair of sneakers or you went to school with a fresh pair of jeans, you had to fight for your sneakers. You had to fight for your clothes because you had kids that was poor. And they would try to take what you got. If you get lunch money and stuff like that, like, yo, the kids nowadays, I don't care. They could show all of these big long guns. They could show all of these guns with the switches. They will never be nothing like the individuals that grew up in that 80s era. They would never be. You know how many of these kids I see, they running around with these guns, with these switches, they killing these people, and then when they get in the interrogation room, they crying for their mother. You know how many of them crying for their mother? See, in the 80s, you became the individual that you became because that's who you wanted to become. That's who you wanted to become. Meaning, if you wanted to be a stick-up kid, then you was learning from stick-up kids. They taught you the game. They taught you the code of being a stick-up kid. They taught you how to be a good stick-up kid. They taught you how to walk away from a stick-up with your life. It was a real live education, like you went to school. If you wanted to be a drug dealer, you learned everything about the drug game from A to Z. And that's how a lot of people came to the understanding that the streets wasn't for them. Because they got a crash course of everything that game boiled down to. And they learned, like, nah, that's not for me. They learned how to stand tall because they were told the consequences of their actions. Daryl Mason, don't walk in Albee Square Mall looking like you have a little money on your... Man, listen, I used to be in the Albee Square Mall. I used to snatch jewelry from people's neck in the Albee Square Mall and outside the Albee Square Mall. If you used to go shopping back when I was younger and I was a kid, you go shopping, you walking down Fulton Street or through the Albee Square Mall, you just finished shopping, you done went and bought clothes, you got sneakers and all of this stuff. I was one of those little kids that was running by snatching your bag. And I'll go to the projects, lay low, and then I'll change my clothes and come back out and go to the same store that you bought the stuff from, and I have the receipt, and I'll go take it back to that store and get the money. Albee Square Mall was no joke back then. And that's where all of the rappers used to hang out. That's where all the killers, so you know, that was a totally different era. And I'm happy that I survived that era as well. And that's why it's been so important for me, you know, for me to share my story, for me to, you know, change my life, for me to try to be a difference, for me to, you know, be a believer in God and to show people like, man, listen, it's possible for you to change your life. I don't care what nobody talking about nowadays. You understand? I'm 47 years old, right? I started running the streets at 8 years old. 8 years old. I survived the streets. I survived doing 15 years in prison. What do I need to prove to the streets, to the hood, or to anybody? My health is intact. You know, so it's like we're so brainwashed into thinking that if you're not on street time, if you're not on thug time, if you're not on gangster time, then you're nobody. No, that's a poison mentality. And that's the same mentality that got so many of these young brothers in jail. Nowadays, listen to me, people. Listen to me, people. Nowadays, in the United States, most any state that you can think of, nowadays, this is the worst time in history in terms of teenagers. Because given the fact that these teenagers like to run around with these big guns they call sticks, and these guns with the switches, these teenagers, 15, 16, 17, and 18 years old, they're going to jail for murder. They're going to jail for double murder, for triple murder, for capital murder. Their whole life is over. There has never been a time in history like now where so many young dudes are going to prison and the rest of their life they're going to spend in jail with no possibility of coming out. But they're taught through music, and they're taught through A lot of these people that come from the streets that know you got to rep the streets, you got to rep your gang, you got to rep your hood. Listen, your streets, your gang, and your hood ain't going to do that time for you. Ain't going to do that time for you. Trust me when I tell you. I done lost my hair. I went bald in prison, stressing. I used to have long braids. I lost my hair in prison, stressing my life away. I don't ever want to go through that again. I don't ever want to go through that again. And a lot of these young kids, they don't have no understanding as to what they're gonna go through, as to what they're gonna face. And let me tell you something. A lot of these older dudes from the neighborhood, be it so-called OGs, old timers, whatever you want to call it, a lot of them are washed up drug addicts and alcoholics that didn't do nothing with their life, didn't make nothing of their life. That's why they still in the projects, and they trying to tell you how to be what they was and what they are. You listen to that if you want to. If they didn't make nothing out of their life, what you listening to them for? And they showing you that if you don't change your life, this is what you're going to be. This is what you're going to become. Most of the old time gangsters and gangbangers and stuff like that, most of them, the great majority of them, no matter what state you from, if they still happen to be living, they in their late 40s, they in their 50s, they in their 60 years old, the only thing that they accomplished in life was living to make it to this age. But 95% of them don't have nothing going on in life, aside from the fact that they was whatever kind of gang member they was. They didn't accomplish nothing else with their life. Some of them was drug addicts, some of them was alcoholics. They didn't accomplish nothing. They don't have no money to take care of their kids. They don't have no money to take care of their grandkids. So they gonna be in that life until they die because it's nothing else for them to do. They didn't accomplish nothing else. They didn't put no money away for a rainy day. They don't got no house outside the hood to go and live to. So they trying to tell you about gangs. They trying to teach you to be the next generation of losers and failures like them. You can fall for it if you want to. Gary said, even on that gang note, let the youngins know they could bang Crip on the streets, but up north, the blood gang run that heavy and make dudes run to Islam when they go to PC. And that's an actual fact. In New York, Crips don't live in New York prisons. So all that Crip stuff, you could claim that in the streets. But when you go to prison, nah. Crips have a hard time in New York State prison. That is an actual fact. That is an actual fact. You know? That is an actual fact. And then with the Bloods, it's a whole different level of politics, you know? Then with the other gangs, it's a whole different level of politics. It's beautiful out here in the streets. It's beautiful out here in the streets. There's a thing called we live and we learn, right? So when you coming to age, okay, you experience all of these different things. When you get to a certain age, you're supposed to put certain things behind you and start focus on getting your life in order. Stop listening to and taking advice from people who didn't make nothing out of themselves. Show me or give me an example of any successful gangbangers who are still active gangbangers. Give me some examples. And I said this on the chat a long time ago. El Chapo from Mexico. One of the most notorious gangsters in the world. Multi-billionaire. They got him from Mexico, and he's spending the rest of his life in prison in the United States, where his money can't help him, his money can't save him. And he's on 23-hour lockdown. And that's how he's going to live for the rest of his life. So if they could go to another country and get one of the biggest gangsters of all time, what makes you think you gangsters, gang members, or whatever from the hood got a chance? You don't. You don't. The people you don't hear of, those are the people. Look, listen, Montana, I understand where you coming from, right? Because you claiming a gang, and I get that. I respect that. I don't have no issue with that, right? I respect everybody, no matter what you claim. But what I'm going to say to you is, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions. That's it. So long, look, and let me give this disclaimer, because I know we got some people that love the gang lifestyle, right? So long as you are willing to deal with the consequences of your actions, have fun, live your life. But I'm going to tell you this. If you get locked up and go to prison, one of your so-called friends or one of your so-called gang homeboys is going to be sleeping with your girl. If you pass away today or tomorrow, one of your so-called friends or one of your so-called gang homeboys is going to be having your girl, is going to be messing with your girl. And that's a fact. While you in prison doing time, they going to be spending time with your girlfriend. Trust and believe. And then when you come home, then you're going to want to fight. You can have 7 brothers, you can have 10 brothers, you can have 20 brothers. But what I'm going to say to you is, if you go to prison or you got to go to prison in due time, somebody going to be doing your lady while you're locked up. And you going to learn, look, he going to be one of, listen, and I can tell right now, he going to be one of the ones that's going to be that's going to be writing letters to his girlfriend saying, baby, why you ain't write me in so long? Baby, I called you. Why you ain't answer the phone? That dude gonna be sitting right on the side of her when you calling the phone. Like, man, hang up on that lane and come lay down so I could spend some time, yeah, that's what it's gonna be. And you gonna be one of the ones that's in prison showing people your picture and showing people pictures of you and your girl, how happy y'all is. And this gonna be one of the individuals that his homie then show him pictures of the same girl and saying that, oh yeah, this is the one that's my queen. This is the one that's my girl right now. You claiming the girl, but she claiming somebody else. Yo, I done seen it so much. Maybe in the Bronx, but not in the Netherlands. What do you mean not in the Netherlands? What do you mean? It don't matter if you in the Netherlands or you in Alaska. If they got an itch and you not there to scratch it, somebody else gonna scratch it. I'm telling you. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. You gonna be in there stressed out, wondering where she at, wondering why she not answering your letters, wondering why she not calling you, and you gonna be a how you call it? You gonna be a R&B gangster, cause you gonna be in jail. You gonna be tough when you out on the yard with everybody, but then when you go in your cell, you gonna put the pillow over your head and you gonna be crying. Talk about why she don't love me no more. Look, you gonna remember all of them R. Kelly songs. You gonna remember all of them Usher songs. You gonna be remembering all them R&B songs while you in prison crying your heart out because that girl dealing with somebody else. Is that what you thought when you was in jail? No, it's not what I thought. It's what happened to me. And I ain't the only one. Listen, you get 15 years in jail. You mean that you really think in your mind, you must be some type of super gangster. You really think in your mind, if you got 15 years to do in jail, that female is going to be celibate for 15 years. If you think that, it's something wrong with you. Yeah, if you think that, is something wrong with you. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. And see, look, a lot of people ain't going to give it to you the way I'm giving it to you, Montana. A lot of people ain't going to give it to you like I am. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be in your cell. You're going to be crying with your head under your pillow. You're going to be breaking little pieces of paper, talking about she loved me not. She loved me not. That's what you're going to be doing. I don't go to jail. So what are you claiming a gang for? What kind of gang member are you that you don't go to jail? And I told you yesterday, look, I told you, Montana, if I was you personally, I wouldn't even be a gangster. Let me tell you why. Because remember yesterday when you was in the chat and you was talking about, oh yeah, I shot this dude over here and the leader of my gang, his name is this. And I told you yesterday, I'm like, whoa, time out. I'm like, time out. Erase those comments. Don't even put that kind of information on here. And you like, oh no, they know about my gang. They respect my gang. It's like, you don't even know to keep your mouth shut. For one, you jumped on a live, you jumped on a chat. You're telling people you don't know who you shot and who's the leader of your gang. Not even realizing that the information that you put in this chat, this goes worldwide. The FBI can see this. The FBI in your country, the police in your country can see this. And they like, you know what? Thank you. We got us another dumb gang member. Like, come on. If you telling me and you telling people in the chat about somebody that you shot, then just imagine. You're not even a smart gangster. You haven't even learned the most important fundamental of being a gangster, which is learn how to shut your mouth. Learn how to shut your mouth. See, y'all people out here is joining gangs and ain't nobody teaching y'all nothing. You gotta learn how to keep your mouth closed, because a gangster supposed to move in silence and violence. You one of them 2024 TikTok gangsters. The one you trying to go viral by putting all your gang business on the internet. You better, when you get off this live today, you better go find somebody church to go to. You better go find you a spiritual lady in your community and tell them that you want to change your life, because you're not even a good gangster. And if you stay in that lifestyle, what's going to happen is you're gonna wind up giving some information on somebody else, and then they're gonna come back and get you, or you gonna get into something that's gonna be so thick that you're not gonna want to be a gangster no more. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I done been around. Trust me when I tell you. No, it's not that I'm switching up. Look, part of my job, part of my duty and my responsibility, I am the messenger. I am going to tell any and everybody on here information that's helpful, because this is about positivity. This is about upliftment. This is about me trying to save some people from making the decisions that they make. This is me giving back to help uplift, people. Yesterday you was Crip, now today you talking about you Mafia. I'ma tell you what you is. You confused. And you need to go and find you a church in the Netherlands, or you need to go find you a farm and get a license to grow some marijuana and sell it and make some money legit. You a Crip and you Mafia. No, you confused. You need to go to church is what you need to do. You a Crip and you Mafia. I don't even know. What do you mean I don't know? I know about what you saying out your mouth. You just told everybody in the chat yesterday who's the leader and who's the head of your gang. What if it's somebody else from the Netherlands that's in the chat that's an enemy of yours? You done just told them who's the biggest target in your gang. You cannot be in a gang until you learn to close your mouth. That's what you need to do. So you know what we gonna do? Look, this is what we gonna do on this channel. We revoking your gang card. You're not even gang no more. You're not gangster no more. We revoking your card. So don't even talk about no Mafia. Don't talk about no Crip. Don't talk about none of that in the chat no more. You need to go to Bible school. And I want you to be the one that read the Bible verses when I do the chat on here. When I need somebody to go to the scriptures and to pull up the scriptures on what we talking about when we having God talk, you need to go to school and you need to spend some time alone in your room studying this Bible so you could be helpful to this community and you could be the one that read the scriptures. But all of that, you a gang member, you Mafia, and you all of this, man, listen, you are a legend in your own mind. And if I was your gang, I would be trying to get you away from me because you talk too much. You talk way too much to be a gang member. Multi-cultural, that's what that's called. This is not no multi-cultural. Look, see, that's the problem with young dudes, right? Y'all swear to God that y'all doing something new. Do you not know that there was gangsters around before you was even born? I was a gang member before, and I'm still living. I'm still here to tell my story. So what does that tell you? What kind of individual do that tell you I am? If I was able to survive and I'm still here talking to you right now, what does that tell you about me, homeboy? At my age, what does that tell you about me? That I wasn't one of those to play with. And that's why I'm so passionate, because I know what that life is like. I know what that life is about. And a lot of y'all young dudes, y'all doing this thing because it's cool and because it's trendy. Y'all joining gangs because it's cool, because your homeboys is doing it, because you see people on social media doing it. But you don't know what it brings. You don't know what it come with. You don't know what it come with. So before you have to find out, do yourself a favor and go tell your mother and your father you sorry for misbehaving and that you're going to be a better person. That's what you need to do. But don't come on this chat talk about no gang member no more. Cause you're not built like that. And whoever told you are, they lied to you. And they only told you that because they gonna send you on a crash dummy mission. You get what I'm saying? They gonna send you on a mission that nobody else wanna do so that you can mess your whole life up. So that's the only reason they will convince you that you a tough guy. But ain't nothing tough about you. Ain't nothing tough about you. Like, life is not all about being tough, brother. My brother, life is not about that. You 28 years old. You can have you some kids. You can have you some grandkids. You can enjoy so many things that's going on in life. You understand what I'm saying? Yo, Montano, if I come to Amsterdam, I'm going to come to Amsterdam on vacation to visit. I'm going to come to visit. I'm not going to come to see about what gangs is there. Why would I want to do that? You will come to me for what? Listen, Montano, didn't you say yesterday when I asked you why you joined the gang, you said you joined the gang for money and protection. So that means you only joined the gang because you was scared and you was broke. You don't even know how to get no money. You don't even know how to survive in life without having to be in a gang. And you were scared. You were scared. And I understand that. A lot of people join gangs because they scared. But we don't judge you here. We don't judge you here. I'm just going to give you some real talk. I'm going to give you something to really, really think about. I'm going to tell you what somebody older than, I'm going to tell you what somebody my age should have told you. That to stop acting like you tough, go and do the dishes or go grocery shopping for your mother. Make sure your room is clean. Make sure you take care of your little brothers and sisters. Be responsible for something. Go get an education. That's what they should have told you. Come on, bruh. It don't matter if you're from the Netherlands or you're from the United States. That don't matter. It doesn't matter. Look, even the toughest of all gangsters, right? A lot of them are so far caught up into their gang and they know so much and they didn't experience so much that if they try to leave their gang, they will lose their life. See, that's what happens over here in the United States. That's what happens over here in the United States. You know? Montano said, don't go live in Amsterdam. Mr. Montano, you are a very nice individual, okay? It's nothing wrong with being yourself. You're here in the chat around people who want to see you do good for yourself, okay? You telling me I'm banned from Amsterdam, Montano. You could get mad or get upset with me for keeping it real with you all you want. And see, this is the kind of emotional things that individuals like you do. You think I care? You get very bloody? Do you think I care, Montano? Do you know that all I gotta do is just press one button and you will be forever removed from this chat? Do you understand that? But I promise you one thing, Everything that I told you is going to stick out in your head for the rest of your life. You understand that? The truth of what I told you is going to stick in your head for the rest of your life. Okay? Because the truth is one thing that you can't run from. I survived to be 47 years old. You still only 28. You didn't even make it to my age yet. You didn't even go through half of what I went through in my life. You didn't go through a quarter of what I went through in my life. You didn't survive a piece of what I survived in life. So you should be listening to somebody who been there and did it already. You should be listening instead of talking. No, I didn't say that you were stupid. I didn't say you were stupid. What I said is you should be listening instead of talking. Because if you listen, you're going to learn something. If you listen, you're going to learn something. By you saying what you're saying, who are you think you impressing? You think you convincing us that you tough? You know what would show me you tough? The way I would know you was tough, if you denounce your gang affiliation and you pick up this Bible. You pick up this Bible. And you start trying to be an asset to your community and where you from instead of being a liability. Then I would say you tough. Because all day up until this conversation, you were the same one in the chat giving encouraging information and saying amen and stuff like that and giving other people encouraging information. But then as soon as you get put on the spot, now you go back into your gangster character. That's all it is. It's a character. It's a character. You know? We understand. We understand. You always welcome on this chat. You know, but do something. No, Montano, look. One thing for sure and two things for certain, right, is I'm going to always speak the truth. I'm going to stand on what it is that I say, right? And I'm going to seek to encourage and uplift other people, right? Now, Montano, you are 28 years old. You have a whole life ahead of you. So what I'm saying to you, is focus on things that will make you a better person. That's all I'm saying. If you continue to be in a gang and you continue to be part of a gang, listen, you still welcome here. You still a brother of mine. You understand what I'm saying? You still gonna be a brother of mine. But I'm gonna be a big brother. And I'm gonna tell you the things that you need to know and that you need to hear, whether you like it or not. Because that's what a big brother does. A big brother ain't never been scared of a little brother. The big brother is the one that's gonna pick the little brother up and throw him on his head, gonna body slam him. And that's gonna teach him something. And then still gonna have love for you after it's all said and done. You know? So and you know what, Montano? Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. You said some things that I say you don't like, right? Okay. Now, let me tell you how adults handle things. All you got to do is say, well, listen, Ty, brother, I don't appreciate you saying XYZ because it made me feel a certain way. Even though I'm going to tell the truth, I'm still respectful of everybody's feelings. So if it's something that I said that you feel offended by, I'm a man at the end of the day, and I'm going to tell you, you know what? I appreciate the fact that as a man, you told me you're offended by something. Now, let's talk about why you offended or what offended you. Let's have a dialogue about it. I know you don't want to hear some of the things that I'm saying, but Montana, with all due respect, I'd rather tell you the realest things that you probably ever gonna hear in your life. I probably tell you that than to be in 100% agreement with the way that you live your life and then find out that something happened. That something happened and I didn't try to warn you. I told you my Instagram is in the description. So if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'll go live with you. I don't got a problem with that. I don't got a problem with that. But I've been around. You understand? And I know that even those that are some of the best gangsters in the world, gang members in the world, is more to life than that. And I'll just leave that there. And that's all I'm here for, is to teach. And I'm pretty sure you could teach me some things as well. That's what it's about. Teaching and learning from one another. Teaching and learning from one another. That's what life is about. You know? That's what life is about. But I'm not your enemy, Montano, and I'm not here to disrespect you or make you feel away. But I have a duty and an obligation, you know? We appreciate you being part of this chat because, Montano, whether you realize it or not, you're from the Netherlands. So you are representing your entire country. You from the Netherlands, you're representing your entire country. You're the only one from the Netherlands in the chat. You know? So I appreciate you being here. I like you being here, you know? You're a cool individual. I don't have no problem. I don't have no issues with you. But I just don't like, you know, the way our people be choosing, you know, certain lifestyles when there's so many other choices out here. You understand? Down Mason telling bro, ain't nothing cool sitting in that cell eating Doritos. I'm telling you, eating Doritos and tuna fish, smashing up them noodles, pouring hot water on it, putting the chili cheese and all. Man, ain't nothing fun about that. People telling you when you could go to sleep and when you gotta get up, waking you up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning for count. Come on, man, ain't nothing nice about that, you know. But Daryl, you want to know the thing? See, the problem is so many people that be on social media promoting that lifestyle, right? They promote it because social media became a way for people to make a life for themselves, right? And you got all of these ex-gang members and people that been to jail and that and did time and stuff like that. And they come on here telling their jail stories and they come on here, you know, telling their stories about the streets and stuff. And they get some likes and they get some comments and they get some subscribers and stuff like that. So they feel that that's the way to go. So everybody, all of these people are on social media, and everybody are speaking and talking about that same narrative. They pressing that same narrative, that street mentality, that gang mentality, that hustler mentality. And I'm probably one of only a few that's going to do the opposite. That really care about helping and uplifting people and having real conversations, you know? So we're not going to get all of the views on this channel. We're not going to get, all of the accolades. You get what I'm saying? But everybody that comes to this channel, everybody that comes in this chat, I guarantee you're going to learn something. You're going to appreciate the content. You're going to get an opportunity to be heard. You're going to be respected because everybody's going to respect you here. You're going to learn a little bit about God. You're going to learn a little bit about so many different things in life. And you're going to grow to respect this channel. This is the people's channel, But it's like everything else is promoted. So we're going to promote peace. We're going to promote God. We're going to promote positivity. And whosoever don't like it, that's on them. They're going to have to take that up with God. Straight up. Because we not going to stop what we doing. What you wrote on the paper. What did I write on the paper? What you mean? I didn't write nothing on the paper right now. What you talking about earlier? Oh, earlier I had wrote like the making a plan for yourself for like the next 20 years. So you ask yourself where you want to be in the next 20 years, right? Then you ask yourself where you have to be in 10 years, which is going to put you close to that goal. And for the next 5 years, what do you have to do so that you could be able to accomplish those goals? So what it does, Montano, is it gives you a blueprint for your life, right? And so when you have that blueprint for your life, every decision that you make and everything that you do, it should be in line with helping you accomplish your 20-year goal. So that's why that blueprint is so important, That's why it's so important. Because say, for instance, if you say in 20 years, I want to be able to travel the world, right? So then that means you can't get no arrest on your record. You got to have some money. You don't want to get caught up or mixed up with the wrong people. So it just kind of gives you a blueprint so that you know when you're going off track in life, and it helps you stay on track in life. That's why you do the 20-year plan. You may not accomplish most of that stuff that's in your 20-year plan, or you may accomplish more. And you could constantly change, what you want your accomplishments to be over time, But it's that we got to give ourselves a chance, Mr. Montana. We got to give ourselves a chance. That's just really what it boils down to. Like, you from the Netherlands, right? I don't know what your family is about or what your family accomplished, so forth and so on. But you could become the one in your family that can travel the world. You could become the one in your family, that could move to the UK and that could get a house to the UK, and your family from the Netherlands could come and visit you in the UK. So for me, all it is like, let's look at all of our options, right? Let's look at all of the things that we can do. And let's pick the option that in the long run would be more rewarding, or what comes with the most rewards. Already have that, brother. Yes. So You know, I hope you keep it up. You know, I want to see everybody win, and I want to see everybody successful. It don't matter what country you from, what state you from, you know, it don't matter. I just want to see everybody win. And I want everybody to do and to be the best that they possibly can be. And sometimes we just gotta push ourselves. Sometimes we gotta have somebody that believes in us, that's going to push us to be our best possible self. And that's what I'm about. That's what I'm into, you know? This is not a joke for me. This is not a gimmick. If you think about it, I come online, I come on live, and you know, pretty much we talk positive things, we have good conversations, we laugh and we joke. This is not something that I need to do, you know, but I see that this is something very rewarding because look, I was able to come across somebody like you from the Netherlands. I don't know nobody else from the Netherlands. You understand? I don't know nobody from the Netherlands. So, you know, it's all good. It's all love here, Montano. We respect your gangster on this channel. You know? It's all good. Yeah, man. You know, Tom, you know what it is. It's like I'm a very passionate individual, right? And you know, me and you already spoke about it. We both did time in prison. And it's like a lot of individuals like they didn't have a lot of real life experiences, you know? Like I'm pretty sure it may be violence in the Netherlands. It might be certain things going on in the Netherlands. But the Netherlands is not more violent than the UK. The Netherlands is not more violent than the US. You know? So when I see like, you know, especially like somebody from Montana that come from a country like the Netherlands, it just kind of bothers me that why would it even be gangs over there? You know? Why would it even be gangs over there when, you know, the Netherlands, it's like they could build up their country. They could build up their country to be so much because a Netherlands is a beautiful place. And you got mafia everywhere. I'm not going to lie. You got mafia and you got gangs everywhere all over the world. That's a fact. We know that. We know that exists. You know? But it's like as a world, we should be going forward. And some things kind of seem like we going backwards. Like having gangs in certain countries at one time, that was unheard of. You know? That was unheard of. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of the Netherlands is a big port. That's one thing that I do know about the Netherlands, right? It's a big port. And a lot of drugs and things pass through the Netherlands, you know, to get to other places in Europe. I know that. I understand it. I understand the dynamics of it, you know. And then you have the big mafia figures, and then you have the street soldiers, you know. So I get it. I understand it. But I just think that it's like, it's still sad though. You know? I know the criminal element, the gangs, that's always gonna exist. Right. Exactly. Yeah. 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 Yep. Listen, I watched Montano, and you probably know the name of it, right? I watched a documentary. I watched a series about the Netherlands that was on I think it was on Netflix, right? Where you had these people in the Netherlands, got people from Canada And people from other countries used to come to the Netherlands, come to their house, and you know what I'm saying, they used to get, you know, like drugs and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot going on in the Netherlands. I know this, trust me. But to me, it just still, it's still sad, you know? Still sad. Like you would think that like we would be advancing forward, you know? But the underworld gotta live too, you know? The underworld gotta live, so I get it. Nothing but respect. I know that's the motivation. The money is the motivation. I get it. You know? I get it. But that money, it'll cost you a whole lot more in the long run. That's what a lot of people don't look at. That's what a lot of people don't look at. Money show ain't everything. Because when you got to do that time in prison, but you know, just be safe. You know, just be safe. Do your thing. Do your thing, man. You know. Oh, and sorry, Miss Honey, that I saw you and Tom talking, but I was, you know, kind of kicking it with Montano. So so Honey, how much time you said they gave him? How much time did they give him this time? I know you had wrote it. Man, I'm just happy to still be here, just to be honest, you know? I'm happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I got 2. How about yourself? Yeah, that's good. Congratulations. And I'm pretty sure, and see, that's the one thing about our kids is that, you know, our kids, this is a hard lesson. This is a hard lesson that I had to learn, right? Is that our kids, they don't care about all the money. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. And that's what I used to say as well, you know? That's what I used to say as well. But then, you know, I just get to a point where I realize that in the long run, what if something happens? What if something happens to me? Or, you know, let's say, what if something happens to you? You know, how would your kids feel? You know, how is your kids gonna take that? So that's what forced me to make certain decisions that I made, you know, in terms of going about making certain changes. Because I can't see myself like Man, I can't see myself without my kids, you know? And my kids would be devastated if something happened to me. So, you know, sometimes we got to make hard choices. Sometimes we got to find a different, sometimes we got to find a different way, another way. I know fast money is good, and I know sometimes under some circumstances that be the only money that's available, you know, the fast money. So, you know, just live life cool, man. Just live life easy, and, you know, hopefully everything work out. I'm going to keep you in prayer, though. I'm going to definitely keep you in prayer, Brother Montano. I'm going to pray that, you know, the Lord keep his hands on you. 9 and 12. Well, excuse me, 9 and 13. So soon about to be 10 and 14 in a couple of months. 10 and 14. My 4 and 2 mans to go. Yep. Girl is 4. Okay. Yeah, man. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Nothing but blessings to you. And don't your daughter, don't she make your heart melt? Don't your daughter make your heart melt? Cause that's daddy's little girls. Boy, it's over 2 months here. Blessings. Beautiful thing, man. Beautiful thing. May you grow old with them. May you grow old with them and always be there for them, you know? Yeah, man. Both of my daughters, like, man, I'm talking about, there's no greater feeling in the world. Like, all of the money in the world can't amount to the feelings that I get from my children, you know? No feeling in the world. So I know exactly where you're coming from. Trust me. And it make you want to be there, you know, be the best provider, be the best protector, be the best at everything. And sometimes, you know, just how much our kids mean to us, you know, that's what kind of helped with some of our decision making. But I can't really speak on, you know, a lot because I don't know the financial situation over there, you know. I don't know what kind of access you got to things over there. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So I just respect, you know, I respect people. You get what I'm saying? You could be a bum in the street. You could be somebody that got no money. I'm still gonna respect you because I respect people, you know? And I got love for people. Like I wanna see people, you know, like do good in life and prosper in life. You know? Word. Yeah, Tom. It's crazy, you know? Life crazy, crazy, crazy. Yep, God willing. God willing. Yep, because they a handful. Girls is a handful. You're 100% right about that. And that is like with a son, you know, like you could talk to them a little bit more strongly. With a girl, you got to be mindful of, you know, the way you talk to them, the way you deal with them. You know, everything for your daughter is always yes. Even when you want to say no, it's like everything is yes. You can't tell your daughters no. You can never tell your daughters no. My daughter sometimes would be like, man, no. And then like 5 minutes later, I'd be like, all right, here, you know? So it's crazy. Yeah. You planning on having any more kids, Montano? You want to have more kids? If so, how many? Or you just gonna keep going until you can't go no more? What you gonna do? Montana probably like as many as I could afford. Yo, but Tom, that's what I wanted at one time, man. I wanted a football team. I wanted a football team. I wanted to have, enough kids that pretty much they could cover every position on a football team. You know? But God have his own plans sometime. And by the way, thank you for everybody being in the chat today. Thank you for everybody that pulled up in the chat today. Much blessings to you. May the Lord continue to bless you. May the Lord continue to bless us. Beautiful chat today. You want maybe 4 more? Okay. That's cool. LOL, a Jamaican guy I know, he got like 30 all over. Yeah, because the Yardman them, they be dealing with that Irish moss. They be dealing with that Irish moss, And they be eating all that good and natural. They be eating all of that good and natural food. You know what I'm saying? So, they think be working. It's like everything they touch pregnant. They just look at a girl, she pregnant. This chat was necessary. Yeah, it definitely was necessary. See, sometimes, and that's why I don't, I picked something to talk about to initially, start off the chat, but I don't get too stuck on it that I feel like, okay, well, that's the only thing that's going to be talked about, because ultimately, I want to be here to have and provide conversation that's, beneficial and necessary to the community at large. And sometimes it's going to be a one-on-one, and that's why I tell y'all every day, like, I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate, the fact that God put this together. And, sometimes we have our laughs, sometimes we have our turn up, sometimes it be informational, sometimes it be educational, sometimes it be heartfelt, but all in all and through it all, we all get to learn from each other. We all get to share with each other, because otherwise we probably wouldn't have, this opportunity. So irregardless to what, like, even, brothers like Montano, I appreciate them, because you know what? Even from the chat, even though, we had some disagreements and, we was kind of laughing and going back and forth, but what do we show to the world, and what do we show to everybody in the chat? That men could have disagreements and it don't have to turn to violence. You see the lesson? Men can have disagreements, it don't have to turn to violence. Men can have disagreements, it don't have to turn to disrespect. You understand? It don't have to turn to disrespect. So the kind of world that we live in nowadays is people don't realize that, and they don't understand that. People don't know that, okay, you can have a disagreement and it could stay at a disagreement. People don't realize and understand that. Everybody feel they got to be tough. Everybody feel they got to be aggressive. Everybody feel they got a point to prove. But if you comfortable with who you are as an individual, if you know who you are as an individual, then you shouldn't be threatened by nothing that nobody says. It shouldn't matter what nobody says about you. It shouldn't matter what nobody feel about you. All right, it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, we men, and in real life, I'm pretty sure that all of us as men, we're going to do whatever the situation call for when the situation call for. I got a household, I got kids. So what does that tell you? I'm a man. I'm going to stand on, you feel what I'm saying? I'm going to, anytime I need to defend or, to make certain decisions in regard to the safety and security of my loved ones, that's what I'm going to do. So as men, that's not even stuff we have to talk about, But yeah, Tom, you're right. The ego is winning. You know why the ego is winning? Because ignorance is winning. ignorance is winning nowadays. Ignorance became popular. You know, ignorance has become popular to the point that people feel that ignorance is the way to go. You know, and then when you have, okay, when we have conversations like this, when we have real chats like this is sometimes the only opportunity some people get to really hear real talk. They be like, oh, you know what? Man, look, whether I agree with it or not, like, that's real. Because real is something you can recognize if you're a real individual or you're a fake individual. You're going to recognize it when you hear it, you know? And but me, I'm just the one willing to put myself out there and say, yo, you know what? Enough is enough, man. And I don't care what nobody else is doing, but this is what we doing. This is we trying to build something. Everybody put up some heart for this man. Now, I mean, look, Montano, most of my friends, most of the ones that I grew up with, that I was close with, they no longer here. A lot of them spending a lot of time in prison, you know, or the other ones that still living, some of them, like, they drug addicts, they drugged out. You know how often people say to me, oh, look how young you look. You know, how old are you? If I cover this little gray and I was on here, y'all probably would think I was a young kid. Y'all probably would think I'm 21, 22 years old. You know? You can't see. Look, listen, and this is for Montano and Tom and whoever else is in the chat, right? Listen at this. I'm gonna tell you the realest thing that you probably ever gonna hear in your life, right? I didn't have an easy life. You understand? One thing that you can't see is the pain in my eyes. One thing you can't see is the pain in my heart from some of the things that I experienced in life. You know? And that's why God is so important to me in my life right now. Because when you live the street life, man, listen, I can give you stories right now of how my own so-called friends that I thought was my friends was trying to kill me in the streets. And to this day, I act like I don't know. To this day, I act like I don't know. You know? To this day. If you live the street life, or you've been in the street life, and you make it to be 47 years old, all of the things that I saw with my eyes and I experienced, I thank God I made it out. I thank God I'm here to tell a story, because a lot of people didn't make it, you know? And I'm no better or no different than anybody else, because a lot of people had it rough in life. Even people that probably never went to the streets. A lot of people had it rough in life. But see, the one thing about it, awesome dialogue. Awesome dialogue, Ty. Have a good night, gentlemen. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to you, Mr. Niece. Thank you. As always, it's a pleasure having you in the chat. And we looking forward to seeing you next time as you go to and fro your destination. May God continue to keep his arms around you, keep you safe and secure. May God continue to look over and watch over you and your family. May he keep you by his mercy and grace. In his mighty name we pray. Amen. All right, my brothers and sisters, many blessings. Many blessings. And sisters, blessings, good night. Blessings and good night to you as well, Miss Sweet Like Honey. May the Lord continue to look over you, watch over you. May he go before you. May he go before you, and may he fix any situation that may be going off track. May he continue to be your healer, be your guide, be your director. And may He worked through all of those situations and circumstances that you experiencing. Continue to believe and continue to trust in him, honey. Everything is going to be all right. Just no limbs. Yeah, just no limbs. Wait till save the limbs to Halloween. We still got a couple of months. All right, later, ladies. Y'all have a blessed evening. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the next chat. But yeah, Tom and Montano. So, yo, I experience, man. Sometimes, and that's how I know it was God, because sometimes I look back and I'm like, how did I survive that? You know? How did I survive that? How did I make it? How did I make it through that? I got spared, man. My life got spared so many occasions. And you know, I thank God. I thank God for another opportunity. And I just don't take it for granted. And you know, I'm not a perfect person. Most everybody that know me, they'll tell you something different about me. You know, those that like knew me growing up, everybody will tell you something different. People that I didn't see in years, everybody will tell you something different about me. You know, some people will tell me, man, that dude, he cold-hearted. Or don't play with that dude. Don't cross that dude. They tell you, yo, that dude is a maniac. Trust me, don't let him, you know, he talks and then you got some people that say, yo, he's the most loving, the most caring, the most dedicated, devoted. This man will give you the shirt off of his back. Then you got the other ones, they'll tell you, oh man, look, he rich. That boy bleed money. That boy, you know, breathe money. Then you got others that tell you, man, he's so educated, he's so sharp, he helped me do this, he helped me do that, you know? Then you got other people, yo, man, listen, I was going through this, I was going through that, and this is the only person that, you know, ever been there for me, ever came through for me, you know? So that's what made me learn that, like, as we growing and as we get older and as we go through like our growing stages in life, is that people gonna know us for different things, or people gonna have heard about us for different things. And what I learned with men is sometimes we have so much of an ego, right? And we want to be so much loved. We want to be so much liked. We want to be so much looked at with respect that we hold on, or we want to hold on to certain negative aspects of ourselves because we get so much praise for it. We addicted to the praise, you know? We addicted to the limelight. We addicted to, you know, people talking about us like we the biggest boss. We get addicted to that, and we don't want to let that go. But as you get older, you realize that all of the things that you did in life and all of the things that you experience in life, they were experiences, you know? It wasn't you. Like some people, just because, you know, they commit certain crimes, or, you know, they willing to put their life on the line, you know, they call themselves killers, they call themselves gangsters, they call themselves thugs. And it's like, okay, that could be one of your traits, but that's not all of what you are. You know, that's not all of what you are. Don't sell yourself short. Those are only certain qualities and characteristics. But see what you could become. And that's what I'm interested in seeing today. I'm interested in seeing what I'm going to become after it's all said and done. I know what I was. I know where I was. I'm so far removed from that now. But my story and some of the things that I experienced is still so important, and it's still so relevant because it's so many people that's dealing with the same mentality that I had way back when, you know? And I want to be the difference. I want to be the one to share some of the things that I experienced in the hope that somebody else don't have to go down that road, you know? And I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to be ridiculed. I'm not scared to, you know, people say, "Oh man, go ahead with that nonsense. Don't nobody want to hear that." I'm not scared of that. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not. I don't worry about that because I know who and what I'm standing for. Like the Lord is my savior. You feel what I'm saying? So if the whole world turned against me, so long as I got God, I'm good. And so long as what I'm doing, I know is going to make the man above proud of me, I'm good. And the blessings and the good that I put out into this world, hopefully, my kids get the benefits of my good karma. And that may God protect them as they get older. And if I'm not around to be there to protect them, that's what I ask for, you know? So, God willing. Tom said, I like the film of Robert De Niro and had to keep his son away from the gangster life. De Niro was a bus driver. I saw him as the real man. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I read the Bible more because of you. And that's a blessing, Montano. That is a blessing. And I'm thankful and I'm appreciative that, you know, I was your inspiration for that. And what I'm going to say in regards to that is, in reading the Bible, that don't mean that overnight you're going to turn into a Christian or you're going to turn into the best Christian or you're going to be the best person in the world. No. It's that it's so much knowledge in this book. This book is so much knowledge. You know, this book and reading this book would teach you how to deal with any and everything. Any and everything that happens to you or that occurs in life. This book will give you strength and will teach you how to get through it. Because sometimes in life, it's not going to always be somebody around that's going to be able to be there for us, that's going to be able to help us. You feel what I'm saying? When we really need it. It's not going to always be somebody around. But so long as you got this, you always going to have somebody around. You're going to have this knowledge. You're going to have this wisdom. You're going to have this information. You know? So this is like a very strong and powerful weapon. Montana said, "What is your best page?" I don't have a best page. Because the thing is, in this Bible, it teaches you how to deal with any and every situation and scenario that you ever gonna come across in life. You know? It teaches you how to deal with it and it gives you strength. So at certain times, you're gonna read certain parts of the Bible. At certain other times, you're gonna read certain other parts. Some quotes. Okay, so what I'll give you is, I'll give you what I started with when I was younger, and I started reading the Bible. It's called the Beatitudes, right? It's in Matthew. So I'm gonna tell you the verses right now. It's called Matthew's and it's called the Beatitudes. And look, matter of fact, I got it for you. Look, do me a favor, Montana. What I want you to read is I want you to read the book of Matthew. It's the first book in the New Testament. Read the book of Matthew. Read the entire book of Matthew, right? Read the entire book of Matthew. And I'm going to start reading some of it to you because Matthew is considered one of the books of knowledge. Right? Matthew is considered one of the books of knowledge. But in Matthew, I'm reading from, this is from chapter 6, verse 19. And this particular chapter and verse is speaking about money and possessions, right? So on chapter 19, it says, don't store up treasures here on earth, where moths eat them and rust destroy them, and where thieves break in and steal. Store your treasures in heaven, where moths and rust cannot destroy, and thieves cannot break in and steal. Wherever your treasure is, there the desire of your heart will also be. So look, let me just break that down to you a little bit, right? So now in everyday life, you see the people who, and I'm guilty of it, because I got jewelry. I like to, wear jewelry. I don't wear every day, right? But I like jewelry, and I have nice jewelry. So now, here in this life, right? Check this out. Here in this life, wearing a lot of jewelry, driving fancy, expensive cars, living in these big old houses and mansions, having everybody know what kind of business you into, what kind of hustle you got, how much money you making, is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. Let me tell you why. Because people that are poor or people who do not have, they will look at what you got and they will break into your house to try to rob it. They will break into your car and try to steal it. They would try to take your life for your possessions. You understand? So this is why in this particular verse, the Bible says, don't store up your treasures here on earth. Don't try to be all out there flamboyant and showing everybody you got money and showing everybody you got all these worldly possessions. Because that's what make people hate you. That's what make people jealous of you. That's what make people envious of you. And that's what make people want to come and take what it is that you have. So if you notice, most of the richest people that exist in the world, we're not only talking about one particular place. Most of the richest people in the world, you wouldn't even know they rich. They walk around in amongst you every day, and you don't even know how much money they got. If you look at people like Elon Musk, he don't dress like he got money. If you look at people like Bill Gates, he don't dress like he got money. If you look at people like Sam Walton, he don't dress like he got money. If you look at people like Mark Zuckerberg, he don't dress like he got money, because they don't want to draw and attract the attention. Money is for you to enjoy, for you to provide for your family, the things that y'all need. And then you use the money, you go on vacation, you take your family to see other places of the world, for them to visit. So that's one example of the Bible and its teachings, right? And then when we in Matthew, we in the same book of Matthew. Then we're going to go to chapter 7. Now in chapter 7, it says, do not judge others, and you will not be judged, for you will be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged. That's the book of Matthew. Matthew. H-E-W, the book of Matthew. So I want you to start at Matthew, because that's the first book of the New Testament. I want you to start at Matthew, read the whole book of Matthew. Read the whole book of Matthew. You know, if it's anything that you don't understand, read it again. You still don't understand it, read it again. You still don't understand it, read it again. Yeah. So Matthew is a very excellent book to read. I'm gonna give you the books of knowledge. Matthew is a very good book to read. You could get knowledge. The book of Psalms, Psalms. That's another book of knowledge. The book of Solomon. The book of Solomon, that's another book of knowledge. Yeah, so the book of Daniel, you took that off the tip of my tongue. The book of Daniel as well. So start with those 4 books right there. Start with those 4 books. The book of Daniel is excellent. That's an excellent one right there. Thank you for that, Tom. I appreciate you. Yeah, the book of Daniel is excellent. So yeah, Montano, and that's some of the books that you could start with, because those books are about knowledge. And then when you get time, then you just start from the beginning. Start from Genesis. Start from Genesis. And every day, read a little bit. Every day, read a little bit. Learn the history. Learn the lineage. Learn the books of prophecy. You just take your time and then just read through the Bible. But those books of knowledge, those is ones that I constantly, refer to. I read the whole Bible. Kabbalion, I read that. The Kabbalion, I read that book now. Montana Steinbeck, 1908. Okay. Yeah. And listen, reading is good for a couple of things. And let me tell you, and then we're about to close out in a few. So, what makes reading important is because you got a thing on the top of your head called a what? Right? You got a brain. You understand? And your brain is like a computer that processes information. Right? So, if you want to keep your brain like constantly working and strong as you get older, then you want to do a lot of reading. You want to do a lot of reading. You want to always continue to exercise your brain. Be it with reading, be it with thinking, be it with processing information. Because this brain, you only get out of it what you put in it. So if you pour knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and information, if that's the stuff that you pour into your brain, when you're going through life and you're going through certain situations, circumstances, then that's the information that your computer is going to spit out. You understand? The Bible, when you read it and you continue to read it, you continue to absorb it, and then you start and put it into practice, then you will realize you're gonna naturally grow to realize, you know what? It's nothing in this world that I'm bothered by. It's nothing in this world that I'm scared about. Because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. This is where your true power comes from. It comes from knowledge, not from a sword. Not from a sword. You know, your real power comes from knowledge. You know, the toughest thing, the toughest thing that we could do in this world is be responsible individuals. You know, the toughest person that we could be in this world is responsible individuals. Meaning, we take care of our kids, we take care of our responsibilities, we take care of our duties and obligations to our household, we be a protector to our family, and we try to put ourselves in a position so that we can elevate our family and elevate our loved ones. That's what being tough is about. Being responsible. Because there's so many people that's not responsible. You understand? There's so many people that's not responsible. Look, you got people that's out there, especially dudes, out there running around, running the streets, right? They say that they'll give their life for their homeboys, for their clique, for their crew. But meanwhile, they're not even taking care of their kids. Meanwhile, they're not even putting time and effort into their kids. They willing to put their life on the line for a crew or a clique, but not realizing that you risking not being in your children's life. And we somewhere somehow think that make all the sense in the world, and it don't. It don't. You know? Your kids need you from the time they born up until they old in age. Because who you think your kids is going to come to when they become adults and they got to be responsible and start paying bills, or they need help with something, or they go through certain things in life? Who you think they're going to call? They're going to call on their father or their mother. And the hardest thing for any child to have to deal with is for them to get older. And they got to figure it out on their own because their father and their mother is not there. That's heartbreaking to a child. It don't matter how old your child get. Your child is going to always need you so long as they on this earth. Even if they got all the money in the world, even if they, got their own relationship and they got their own kids. Kids is still going to always need their parents. And so to develop and to have that kind of relationship with your children is a beautiful thing. And then you teach them to have the same kind of relationship with their children, so forth and so on. We too much teaching destruction. We too much teaching men to not be there for their kids. To make the drama in the streets more important than their kids. And it's like, okay, so who's going to protect your kids if you don't? If something happens to you, who's gonna be there for your kids? Who's going to protect your kids? A lot of us don't think about that, So that's why we be kicking it. We just be, kicking it and having different conversations. And, thank you, Montano. I appreciate you for, for you being a part of the chat and for the conversation and for, giving me an opportunity to get to know you and vice versa. Because what we showing is that it don't matter where you from. It don't matter what country you from. It don't matter what your background is. But you could meet people and you could develop bonds all over the world, no matter what. Even though they try to teach us the opposite. They try to teach us to, but it's all good. It's all good. And this evening, again, was a very, 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 very beautiful chat. Thank you for the participation. You always welcome here. And like I said, Montana, you could go in the description and my Instagram link is there. And Link me on Instagram. You know, I was tired today. I was tired. I woke up late today. I was up for a little while, and then I fell back out. Big up Queens. Yeah, I'm Mr. Talker, New York, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, Harlem. I didn't been and lived some everywhere in New York. You know, and we just trying to do different things. You know, just trying to do different things. But big up the Netherlands, big up Montano. If you don't know, now you know. Big up Tom from the UK. Big up the Mondem. You know what I'm saying? And let's continue. And look, here the thing, Montano. A lot of what you learn, big up New York. And listen at this, Montano. A lot of what you learn, the reason why it's important is because the more you learn, the more you could teach your kids so that they could be prepared for this world. You know? The more that you learn, the more you could teach your kids. You know? So that's why I love reading, I love learning, and all of that good stuff. And it's not, and before we go, Montano and Tom, I'm gonna say this to y'all, and for whoever else in the chat, right? So being smart, being a positive individual, being a believer in God, being the type that want to help other people is not popular. It's not popular. You're not gonna win no popularity contest for doing this. You know? So if you're doing it, you gotta be doing it from the heart. Cause you're not gonna get no popularity. If we out there talking about all kind of other crazy stuff, man, trust it would be 100,000 people in the building right now. You know? We had to get 100,000 views. But we really trying to do some real work. We really trying to do God's work. Because at one point or another, we got to give back to God for all that he gave to us. And that's a fact. Whether people want to believe it or not, I know that I'm here because my grandparents, my family was praying for me, when I was out there running around and running the streets. You know what I'm saying? Their prayers is what kept me alive. So, it's only right. But, yeah, so thank y'all for being in the chat. This is a beautiful chat. Definitely a blessed chat. May the Lord continue to look over y'all. May the Lord continue to bless you. May the Lord continue to keep you. May the Lord continue to walk with you. May the Lord continue to open your eyes. May the Lord continue to make you aware of the playing field in front of you so that you don't fall victim to any traps. As you go to and from your destination, may the Lord walk with you. May he show you grace and mercy. In his mighty name we pray, amen. Thank you for the chat. Thank you for the participation. As always, a pleasure having you guys in the chat. Thank you for your time because you didn't have to be here. You could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here, so I appreciate that. So may we continue to meet as we've been meeting in fellowship one with another, learn from another, learn positive vibes, positive energy, and I will definitely see y'all, the time, 10 p.m., 10 p.m., we're going to be in the building. Today was a hard day for me, I ain't going to lie. I woke up late and, then I took care of some work and then I laid back down, got up back again, so today was a hard one. Thank you, appreciate you as well. And, y'all can always hit me and link me on Instagram. You can always link me on Instagram. We could chop it up on there. I send y'all pictures, or we could do video chat. You know, so y'all can see how life is here in the United States. I can see how life is over there. You know, maybe I'm out and about running around doing my day. I have you on video, so you know you can see me running around, moving around, and you know we continue to carry it. So, yeah, I mean, so peace and blessings. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Tom, have a good one. Have a great one. Always a pleasure. Montano, have a good one. Have a great one. Always a pleasure. And anybody else in the chat, have a blessed day. It's me, your boy Tyrone Hunter. This concludes another edition of What's Really Good Entertainment. I am the messenger, and I'm signing off. Gone. Yeah, we're going to keep the torch lit because God kept the torch lit for us. So it's only right. Somebody got to carry on tradition, you know? And we don't care what everybody else is doing, Tom. You feel what I'm saying? So much blessings, Montana. Link me on Instagram, you know what I'm saying, so we can keep it going. I got a couple of things to do before I lay down. And I definitely catch y'all in the next one. So I'm signing off now, man. Good evening. Have a blessed evening. May God continue to be with you. We out of here. To the next one.